Wow, time-lapse is always pretty cool, isn't it? That was from a couple of hours ago, and you can see that the sky has a pretty stratified appearance. We did have rain yet again for like the 6th or 7th day in a row, but things seem to be kind of letting up a little bit, and you can see the clouds have a very horizontal appearance. So what might be the cause of that? This is what we call a stratiform type of cloud. What you saw there was some altocumulus up at about 8,000 or 9,000 feet. And for that we look at the soundings, and this is a program called Rayob. Let me see if I can bring up the help screen. Yeah, so this is a program that this is one of the tools I sell over on the weathergraphics.com site, but you can use this in addition to the online soundings. And that gives you the ability to download data and look at soundings from around the world. So let me just pull that up real quick. I'm going to do a data download from UCAR and see if there's any recent data. I've been looking for the 0Z sounding to kind of show you some of that stratified air. And the absolute fastest way to get soundings without any delay is through a dedicated program like this. So I just go to the map here. These are all the sounding sites that are valid, and I can click on Fort Worth. And we've still got the 12Z sounding, so still don't have any new data yet. But the big change is if we... Let me see, I don't think that program likes me drawing on it. What I did is I hit the... I've got the tilde, or tilde, whatever it's called, key. I've got that mapped to my sketching program, and that seemed to have triggered something in Rayop. So I'll tell you what, let me just switch over to our conventional internet soundings. And let me take the high temperature for today, let's say it was 83 or 84, and then we mix the lowest 150 millibars, and we're going to get a lifted partial, something like that. And there's probably been some change today with advection and lift and something, that kind of thing happening on working on the atmosphere. And I would imagine we've probably strengthened these subsidence layers a little bit. See it right there? These are subsidence inversions. They're kind of on the weak side, but I think they have strengthened a little bit now that we're getting on the back side of that wave. And if you go all the way to Midland, you can see that a little bit more out to the west. So there's a very strong subsidence inversion, and another one up at 450 millibars. This is based here at about 20,000 feet, and this is about 10,000 feet. So what's happening is the clouds are developing from the surface upward. A lot of the cells are reaching this inversion, and they're spreading out and becoming laminar under that level. Some of them are still penetrating, but you can see they hit another barrier up here. So there's probably some other stable layers, and so we end up with kind of like a very chaotic looking sky, a lot of different bases at different levels. The picture we're looking at for today is like this. We are getting back into the southeasterly flow. So that's starting up again, and we're starting to lose that very strong boundary we've had across East Texas. Remember, it used to be positioned something like that. That appears to be mostly gone. I don't really see that on the analysis. So I think we're seeing the return of deep easterly flow into Texas. And that's driving a lot of the showers north of I-20. And this is the San Angelo radar. It's showing the cells here are really not that strong, just kind of a disorganized complex of multi-cells to the north and out here near Big Springs and out to the northwest. So not much going on there. If we wanted to take a look at the big picture and see what's going on, we can take the GFS 0 hour plot, and I can see we have low pressure right here. Let me draw that in red. So we have low pressure right here in Alberta, and you can see these thickness lines in red. See that? There's kind of a very strong gradient through here in Montana. So I think we can place a cold front, something like that. So without going to the surface analysis, we have a pretty good guess where that surface front is. And likewise, we're expecting to find a warm front from around Lake Superior up through Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And then going out to the east coast, kind of the similar picture here. Low pressure off the Prince Edward Islands, Nova Scotia area. And then somewhere around Virginia or Pennsylvania, we pick up a front right there. Then a warm front south of Newfoundland. And in between that, high pressure. This is the big stagnating polar high over Ohio and Indiana. And then the new high coming in from the Pacific Northwest off Vancouver Island. That's driving fresh polar Pacific air into Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. So we're seeing an end to that big heat wave we had out there a couple of days ago. Then out between, it's like a lee side trough in Colorado. So we're going to expect to see a few showers and storms along that and along the Front Range and higher elevations of the Rockies. So that's the big picture right there. And with that, we also expect to find the upper level jet to run something like this. This represents the polar front jet. So we're going to find it just behind the cold front and just ahead of the warm front. So how does that look on the actual map? Let's see if I thought I had that pulled up here. No big deal. We'll just pull that up manually. Analysis, go to Albany, 500. There we go. There's the 500 millibar analysis. This is for this morning. So yeah, we can see that's pretty much where we find the polar front jet. And then at the surface, we're going to expect to find that pattern kind of looking like this here. So there's nothing really supporting any jet streams down in Texas and California. So that suggests that, let me go to the GFS 250. That suggests that this here is probably a subtropical jet. And then up to the north, polar front jet. Okay, let's see. What else do we want to cover? We'll take a quick look at the northeast. You remember from that analysis of that surface map, we expect to find high pressure over Ohio and Indiana, and we're expecting to see that anticyclonic flow into New York and New England, and that would be driving that front down off the Atlantic coast way down here in the corner. So things are looking pretty good in this area. And let's see, I think that's pretty much it. Things are pretty... There's not a whole lot going on in the U.S. Today, really. Just a lot of high pressure and just that one major storm system coming into Montana there. So let's see how things are going to pan out over the next week or so. Looks like that jet shifts eastward, polar front jet in the Great Lakes. So we're going to see things deteriorate there in the Great Lakes over the next week. Then as we get into the weekend, you can see strengthening flow here in Texas, so we may see the sea breeze become active in the eastern half of Texas. There's the subtropical jet just off to the west. And then moving into next week, looks like a very broad, flat, long wave pattern, long wave trough developing along the west coast. So we'll probably see slightly above average chance of rain in this part of the U.S., around the Rockies and in the Pacific Northwest. That might be edging into Texas later, and it looks like it may be a little bit on the dry side in the eastern U.S. next week. And then, of course, tropical storms. Not much going on. Fiona will almost certainly recurve to the north. We're looking at this disturbance here. That's going to be tracking towards Florida, probably going to end up south of the Carolinas. And then this tropical depression here. We don't really have an idea of this yet. This is a little bit further south, so this has a slight potential of making it into the Caribbean. And then if that pans out, there's a slight chance that can make it into the Gulf. But you know the way these things have gone, a lot of them tend to just they tend to stay in the Atlantic, and we never see much out in this part of the Gulf. So that remains to be seen. That's let's see, that's about all I have for today. Let me flip over to the chat page. I don't get a chance to do that because my live stream is my screens are so busy here. I'm trying to figure things out. Yeah, there's a bunch of chat here. Let me check here. All right, nothing really I want to address there, but hey guys, I appreciate you watching. Anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow, and that's pretty much it. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.